I'm smelling coffee, birds are singing just outside. Here comes your mercy, streaming in with the morning light. My heart's racing, waking up to your smile, saying good morning. Saying good morning.
So good morning. Welcome to Breakfast with the Bible. Today we're going to start Psalm 7. I'm going to read the entire thing, and then I'm just going to split it up between today and tomorrow. Today's going to be just verses 1 through 5, and then I'll do the 6 through 17 tomorrow. So a little bit of backstory on this one in particular. The superscription reads, Shigeon of David, which he sang unto the Lord concerning the words of Cush the Benjamite. That word Shigeon, hoping that's how you pronounce it. It's just basically a meditation or a song. So we don't really know who Cush the Benjamite is. I'm pretty sure we can all agree he's not the grandson of Noah. Time frame wise, that wouldn't even be possible. So there are a few different theories. There's a lot of scholars believe that it's the same as Shimei, which is mentioned in 2 Samuel chapter 16. But most, if not all, scholars believe that Cush was a kinsman, a relative of Saul. So that being the case, it would kind of line up with 1 and 2 Samuel, referring to when Shimei in 2 Samuel 16 was chasing or were coming after David. So without further ado, here's Psalm 7. O Lord my God, in thee do I put my trust. Save me from all them that persecute me, and deliver me. Lest he tear my soul like a lion, rending it in pieces while there is none to deliver. O Lord my God, if I have done this, if there be iniquity in my hands, if I have rewarded evil unto him that was at peace with me, yea, I have delivered him that without cause is my enemy, and let the enemy persecute my soul and take it, yea, let him tread down my life upon the earth, and lay mine honor in the dust. Selah. Arise, O Lord, in thine anger, lift up thyself because of the rage of mine enemies, and awake for me to the judgment that thou hast commanded. So shall the congregation of the people compass thee about. For their sakes, therefore, return thou on high. The Lord shall judge the people. Judge me, O Lord, according to my righteousness and according to mine integrity that is in me. O let the wickedness of the wicked come to an end, but establish the just. For the righteous God trieth the hearts and reins. My defense is of God, which saveth the upright in heart. God judgeth the righteous, and God is angry with the wicked every day. If he turn not, he will whet his sword, and he hath bent his bow and made it ready. He hath also prepared for him the instruments of death. He ordaineth his arrows against the persecutors. Behold, he travaileth with iniquity, and hath conceived mischief, and brought forth falsehood. He made a pit, and digged it, and is fallen into the ditch which he had made. His mischief shall return upon his own head, and his violent dealing shall come down upon his own pate. I will praise the Lord according to his righteousness, and will sing praise to the name of the Lord Most High. So I first want to notice the sequence of verses 1 and 2. O Lord my God, in thee do I put my trust. Save me from all them that persecute me, and deliver me. So the first thing David is doing is announcing his trust in God. From that point on, it really doesn't matter what happens. David is saying, I'm committing right now, my trust is in God. Regardless of what may be ahead, I'm committing my trust to the Lord. And David does this throughout his Psalms, a lot. And again, it's this confidence that he has. And I'm going to hit on that point quite a few times as we go on, and I've said it quite a few times before. But David's confidence in God is amazing. So, O Lord my God, in thee do I put my trust. He's laying the foundation right off the bat. Save me from all them that persecute me, and deliver me. So his commitment to trusting in the Lord, and then his request to save me from all them that persecute me and deliver me. Verse 2 kind of gives the reason, lest he tear my soul like a lion, rending it in pieces while there is none to deliver. David is saying, I'm putting my trust in the Lord, because if I don't, there is none to deliver me otherwise. I trust you, Lord, because you are the only one. If you don't save me, no one will. That's what David is saying here. Oh Lord, my God, I put my trust in you, because I know if you don't save me, nobody will. So this is why I like this sequence of verses 1 and 2, because he lays the foundation with trust, his commitment to it, and then understands that without God, David's deliverance is out of reach. And then verses 3, 4, and 5 are likely in regards to, if we're saying that Cush is the same as Shimei from 2 Samuel 16, then he's cursing David, he's accusing David of blood, he's accusing David of being this wretched tyrant, kind of horrible person. So I'll go back to 2 Samuel and actually read that passage real quick to kind of explain to it. Again, this is speculation. We don't know for sure, but most scholars tend to suggest that it might be possible. So 2 Samuel 16 verses 5 to 8 says, And when King David came to Bahurim, behold, thence came out a man of the family of the house of Saul. Again, this is a kinsman. This could very well be Cush, because we're believing that Cush is a relative of Saul, and this is what David is speaking of in Psalm 7, whose name was Shimei, the son of Gera, who he came forth and cursed still as he came. He's cursing David, and cast stones at David and at all the servants of King David, and all the people and all the mighty men were on his right hand and on his left. And thus said Shimei, when he cursed, Come out, thou bloody man, and thou man of Belial. The Lord hath returned upon these all the blood of the house of Saul, in whose stead thou hast reigned, and the Lord hath delivered the kingdom into the hand of Absalom thy son. And behold, thou art taken in thy mischief, because thou art a bloody man. So if we look at this verse 7 in here, this man of Belial basically is a reprobate, is what this Shimei is saying. So he's cursing David in this in reference to something that probably didn't happen. He's accusing him of David being a bloodthirsty man. And then so if we're still looking at verses 3, 4, and 5 in Psalm 7. So, O Lord my God, if I have done this, if there be iniquity in my hands, if I have rewarded evil unto him that was at peace with me, yea, I have delivered him that without cause is mine enemy. Let the enemy persecute my soul and take it. Yea, let him tread down my life upon the earth and lay mine honor in the dust. Selah. So, if we look back to even 1 Samuel chapter, I believe it's 24. Yeah, 1 Samuel chapter 24. This is when David and Saul are in the cave, and David has opportunity to actually kill Saul. Saul, I believe, was asleep. And so what David did was David cut a piece of Saul's clothing as evidence, saying, I could have taken your life. So David is saying that I saved your life, and yet you're still trying to kill me. So what we see here in Psalm 7, again, this is assuming that this is referring to that particular instance. And again, commentaries support most of that idea. So, O Lord my God, if I have done this. David here is confident of his innocence. But nonetheless, he's saying, Lord, if I have done this, he's willing to bet his life on his innocence, saying, if I've done this, if I have iniquity in my hands, if I have rewarded evil to him that was at peace with me, then verse 5 says, then let the enemy persecute my soul. Take it, yea, let him tread down my life upon the earth and lay mine honor in the dust. David is saying, if in fact I have done what you're accusing me of, David obviously knowing he did not, then he's saying to God, let him persecute my soul. Put me at the mercy of mine enemy. Put me at the mercy of the one who's pursuing me, because I know my innocence. David is saying as we get into the later verses tomorrow, David is saying in verse, let's see, what is it? 8, the Lord shall judge the people. Judge me, O Lord, according to my righteousness and according to mine integrity that is in me. David is sure of his innocence in this particular matter. So he's willing to say, Lord, if I've done this, let the enemy persecute me. Let him tread down my life upon the earth. So David is doing something interesting, I think, because first of all, he's putting his trust in the Lord. But so much so that he knows that without God, deliverance is out of reach. Deliverance is not something that is possible. But then he goes on to say that in my trust in the Lord, my confidence in my innocency in this particular matter gives me the ability and the strength to offer myself to the Lord who judges rightly, basically. So verse 5 says, let the enemy persecute my soul and take it, yea, let him tread down my life upon the earth and lay mine honor in the dust. David knows God is just. David is not suggesting that God does something outside of his character. David is saying, if I have done this, then verse 5 is just punishment, is just penalty. If I've done what I'm being accused of, then I deserve for the enemy to persecute my soul. I deserve to be my life tread down upon the earth. David isn't suggesting something that is, completely out in left field. He knows God's character. And we've seen that so far in the Psalms. David acknowledges God's character, acknowledges that God judges rightly and righteously and justly. So when David says, let the enemy do what he will, if in fact I've committed this act that I'm being accused of, then let it happen. And he's saying that he trusts God no matter what. So it's how he laid the foundation. I'm trusting the Lord. I trust the Lord to judge rightly. I trust the Lord to act according to his character and according to his standards of judgment, basically. And it's amazing to me, and I love the confidence that David has. And again, I'm going to be redundant, but I always say redundance creates emphasis. But the confidence that David has is such an example to us that I think we miss it sometimes. I've read Psalms, numerous times, and really kind of didn't notice the confidence in particular until I started this study. And just in the first 7 Psalms, the confidence is overflowing. So I look forward to continuing going through David's Psalms in particular, because it shows us why David was a man after God's own heart. David sinned. David did terrible things. But it doesn't disqualify him, because he was never qualified to begin with, on his own. God says, David is a man after mine own heart. And I think a lot of it has to do with David's confidence in God. David acknowledges God. And we get later into the Psalms that we can see that David understands his chastisement and his punishment and the discipline that God gives as being a blessing. And so David is a great character, I think, to study, because he gives us a great example of the way we should approach God. We should acknowledge God's character, God's standard, and not put ourselves in a separate category from, being, let's say being, what's the word? I can't think of it. Just outside of the realm of being treated poorly, if you let me use that word, by God. And by poorly I mean like according to our standards of poor and good. So David allows himself to be, treated like a child. God the Father punishing or disciplining his child because of his choices, because of his folly, because of his mistakes. And so as we read in Hebrews, being chastised isn't enjoyable at the moment, but it produces something. It teaches us something. It helps us grow. And David understood that. David accepted all of the judgment, all of the anything that God had to give to him, because he knew who God was. He knew God's character, and he had confidence again in God. And to do everything that God does is perfect and right, and at the very perfect moment. And David knew this. David knew that God never did anything without a good reason. And so again, this is why verse 1, O Lord, my God, in thee do I put my trust. That is the line, the phrase that we should start our day with. O Lord, my God, in thee do I put my trust. Now, we're going to hit this a couple of times, but in your Bible, Lord in that particular verse is probably, all caps, capital L-O-R-D. This is in reference to Yahweh, God's name. So, O Lord, O Yahweh, my God or my Master, in thee do I put my trust. So, Lord of the universe, Yahweh, God of heavens and earth, O Lord, my God, my Master, who I serve. O Yahweh, God of the universe, whom I serve. In thee do I put my trust. And then the rest of your day, if you lay that foundation in the morning, which is why I do this in the morning, and again, you're probably not watching it, at the same time I'm filming it, but it's such a great foundation to build upon. If you commit yourself to trust the Lord, then whatever happens is either ordained by God or allowed by God. In either case, if you are a believer and you have put your faith in Jesus Christ, then no matter what it is that either he ordained or allowed, has the potential to benefit you in one way or another. So I hope this message blessed you. I hope that you've enjoyed it and you've gained some wisdom of David. And tomorrow we will cover verses 6 to 17, and that one's pretty self-explanatory. And a few psalms as we get ahead will be kind of quick, because the subject matter is really kind of in your face, and it doesn't, you don't have to dig very deep to understand what he's saying. So again, thank you. Subscribe, share, do your YouTube thing, and again, God bless.